Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Shanvi Learning Services. Welcome to our biology session. Please stay online. I will share a screen, slides. All of you stay online. Please stay online, all of you. Okay, fine. So here, in last class, we have discussed about the world of microorganisms, part one. Okay, about Anthony van Leeuwenhoek and microscope prepared by Leeuwenhoek. Okay, and we had observed many of microorganisms. Okay, like coccus, bacillus, lactobacillus, penicillium, rhizopus bread mold, aspergillus, amoeba, paramecium, bordetella. Okay, as I told you in last class, here rhizopus and amoeba and paramecium like that, they are very important. Maybe there is a chance to come in all, exams also. Okay, you have to concentrate on that. Here we have chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is also important. Okay, Spirogyra, Giatum, Spirulina, Idogonium. Please once check that spelling Idogonium, not Oidogonium here. Idogonium, Oedogonium, and Serratium, Cyclops. So here in biology, different terminology is there. So we have to concentrate on the particular names. Okay, I repeat once again. Coccus, Bacillus, Lactobacillus, Penicillium, Rhizopus bread mold, Aspergillus, Amoeba, Paramecium, Odicella, Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra, Giatum, Spirulina, Idogonium. It's not Oidogonium, it's a Idogonium. Okay, Serratium and a Cyclops, Daphnia. Okay, Daphnia. Next, Scabismite, eyelash mite, eyelash mite, scabies mite, eyelash mite, Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra, Giatum, Spirulina, Idogonium, Serratium, Cyclops, Japhnia, scabies mites, and eyelash mites. Okay, so these are the group of organisms, microorganisms. Here, let us study some microorganisms that belong to the group like bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae, and certain microarthropods with the help of some activities. We had observed already. Here, microarthropods, Cyclops, Daphnia, Scabismite, Elasmite. What about algae? Here, Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra, greenery things. Okay, Giatum, Spirulina, Idogonium, Serratium. These all are comes under algae. Next, fungi. Coccus, Bacillus, Lactobacillus, Penicillium, Rhizopus, Aspergillus. These are fungi. Coming to protozoa group, amoeba, paramecium, Vodicella. So, like that, clearly given. To know about that, and we have to do some activities. For this, we need a microscope. You already know how to use it. You could also refer to chapter Cell, the basic unit of life. Okay. If you recall that, you have to refer the cell basic unit of life. Already you know how to use the microscope and everything. Okay, now here we have activity 1, microorganisms in water. Okay, see here, as we have discussed in last class, here we need to collect water from pond and a tank, water maybe to observe that on the microscope. Collect some pond water, water from tank, any tank in your surroundings. Take some of the greenish scrapping. Okay, from the side of the tank, take 1-2 drops of water from the sample you have collected. On a slide and observe it under a microscope. Draw rough sketches in your notebook of what you have observed. Compare it with the figures. Okay, fine. The given above for observation and identification, you may also hold a discussion about their shape, size, and other characteristics with your friends. I'm recalling, children. Already we have discussed in last class. Take the help of your teacher also. Can you name the organism which you have observed through the microscope? We will try to know more about the microorganisms world. Sorry, about the microscopic world by doing the following activities. Now here we have to observe the fungi. Here this photograph of cardine ball is not that this is a lactobacillus bacteria. This is related to bacteria activity. Okay. So let us go for fungi. Okay. Like bread mold. Okay. See here. Where is fungi here? See penicillium, rhizopus, bread mold. Bread mold we can take as an example. Okay. Aspergillus. Okay. Yeah, these are like a curd and related example for bacteria. So here, usually after the rainy season, you might have seen some small umbrella-like growths over rotten materials of dumped waste. See here, okay, like this. You can observe the dumped waste are rotten materials. Okay, rotten materials. Or between the grass in a field also we can get. And edges of wet rotten wooden planks also we can observe. You are familiar with this. Okay, you just discuss with your father. Okay, or surrounding people. If you don't know about that, almost all you have familiar with this matter. Okay, and often you might have observed white patches on the bark of trees. Right? These patches are formed due to fungi, buju like. Okay. Now let us look at the more closely the following activity. Here, activity 2. See, lactobacillus bacteria which convert milk to curd. Okay, fine. That is related to bacteria. But here, fungi is different. See here, we can take once this photograph of cardine bowl for activity 2. You how to take some rotten part of vegetables or black spoiled part of bread or coconut with the help of a needle. Okay, children. Take some rotten part of a vegetable, okay, spoiled part, okay, of a vegetable or black spoiled part of a bread or coconut. It's a better, like, okay, better to collect from bread or coconut because we can get result early. Okay, you may have observed many times, you may have experience with this. Okay, if you keep a coconut aside, then we can observe next day somewhat layer on that. This is because of fungi. Here you have to take a bread also. You just sprinkle, take dry bread, no problem, and sprinkle some of water. Then leave it for 2-3 days. Day by day, you just sprinkle water if that gets dry. So after 2 or 3 days, we can observe perfectly. Okay, that is a like this marks we can observe. Okay, so that is because of a fungi. Okay, that is better to take. Okay, so that you have collected with you have to collect with a needle. Don't use your hand because in your hand thousands of bacteria are there. If you use your hand, maybe bacteria or micro somewhat not only bacteria, microorganisms may stick on that, and we cannot see proper image. That's why we have to use a needle. Okay, so here you have to use a needle. Help of needle, you have to collect the sample. Place it on a slide. Put a drop of water because without moistening that, without like if you collect a dry sample, you may not get proper visual. Okay, so that's why you have to add 1 or 2 drops. That's it. That depends on sample. Okay, don't add 3-4 drops or biologist sir said add 2-3 drops of water. That's why I'm adding like that. Don't think. You just think about that sample. Okay, so if 1 drop is enough, then you can stop. Okay, put a drop of water. Place a cover slip on it. I told already we have to place a cover slip on the sample because not to get disturbed. Okay, okay, that's why we have to use that particular slip, cover slip. Okay, on it and observe it under microscope. observe it under microscope. Okay. You have to collect the sample from that rotten material like on bread or coconut, whatever maybe, as we have discussed just now, with a needle and put on a slide. Okay. Add a drop of water and cover it with cover slip to avoid disturbance while we are observing from wind or from dust or anything. We have to cover with it with a cover slip. Cover it with a cover slip. Here, after that, however, we can observe with help of a microscope. Under microscope, we have to observe. Okay. See here, draw rough sketches in your notebook of what you observed. It is very, very important. Once again, I am remembering you. Draw rough sketches in your notebook of what you observed. Here, compulsory, you have to maintain observation book. In observation book, while you are observing, you have to draw a rough sketch of diagram, what you have observed under the microscope. Because here, by drawing this rough sketch of diagram, what you have observed, there is a chance to compare with a textual figure. And with the help of this, we can find out the labelings. Okay, in your higher education, like in intermediate, you will have this particular slides and specimens. So as usual, teacher will show that particular slides, what is that particular name, and they will discuss. But after in exams, practical exam, they won't mention any name of that particular slide. Directly they will give slide. Directly they will arrange the slide and arrange the view. We have to go near the microscope and observe. And by observing the structure, we have to find that name. We have to find that name. So that we have to appreciate from now. Okay, we have to get idea about that. By seeing that particular figure, we have to say that particular name. So that is the need of observation book. You have to habituate from now itself, right? So here, take the help of the figures given in figure number 3, bread mold, rhizopus, and compare. As I told here, figure number 7 is not belongs to this activity. It is belongs to activity 3. Okay. Here it is given like figure number 3, bread mold, rhizopus. Let us go for once figure number 3. What is a rhizopus and bread mold, right? See here, figure number 5, 6. Here we required figure number 3 exactly here. Bread mold, rhizopus. This is a fungi, children, right? This is a fungi. Fine. Okay. Have you seen? This is a bread mold. Chalo, let us go for that observing bacteria. So this is also one of the microorganism. Let us observe bacteria. Practically, we can see bacteria in buttermilk, right? Or curd. Or yearly here ikkada, we can see bacteria in buttermilk or curd. Okay, look at the screen, all of you. Or early morning scraping of a tongue. Okay, so after you're eating, like on your tongue, some scraping will be there. Okay, scraping of tongue before washing the mouth. After washing, nothing will be, because you can use a tongue cleaner and clean that total. So why we are cleaning? Did you get now? So the bacteria will form on that. While we are eating, some amount of material will stuck on the tongue. Okay, so that's why that while we are talking, or sometimes we can sit on the particular tongue and start the spoilage. So that's why we have to remove that waste material. So before washing the mouth also, we can collect the scraping of a tongue. Okay, so that is a source. Buttermilk, curd, or scraping of a tongue. That's a source. We can also find them in the soil also. Don't think bacteria is only present in there. So soil also we can find. Some harmful bacteria are there, some helpful bacteria are there, you know. Yes, some harmful, some helpful. If there is no helpful bacteria here, there is no lactobacillus bacteria. Just to think, then where is curd? No. So that's why here the lactobacillus bacteria, if not there is no conversion of that particular curd from milk. Okay. So in soil also many bacteria are there. Over bark of trees, over our skin, in our armpits, and many other places. That is a source of bacteria. But they are not visible to the naked eye. Why they will visible? No, because they are very small microparticles. That's why that is considered as a microorganism, which we cannot see with our naked eye, as I told in the starting. Okay, so we cannot see with our naked eye. We can see or we can observe under microscope only. That's why they are considered as a microorganisms, right? So bacteria is one of the microorganism. So they are not visible to the naked eye, normal eye. Now let us look at them more closely by the following activity. By using microscope, uh, we have to get the view. Okay, let us go for that activity 3. Okay, very easy activity. Take 1 or 2 drops of buttermilk. You have to follow as this. Like I'm going to remember once again. Activity 3. What activity also? Here they will give normally. We have to make that in exam in a systematic manner. Like we have to write first of all aim. After that we have to write a apparatus. Okay, apparatus parikaralu. Next aim, apparatus. After that you can go for the procedure. So here before procedure, after procedure you have to write precautions. Very very important. Maybe some students will feel I have written procedure for 2 pages or 3 pages. Sir will give full marks for me. Don't think like that. Don't think like that. Here you don't have full marks for procedure only. They will mention like a half mark for aim. For example, I'm telling half mark for aim, apparatus half mark, procedure 1 mark or 2 marks like that. Report half mark. Okay, opinion half mark, like that will be divided. So if you write procedure only for 3 pages also, there is no use. You will get only that particular considered marks 1.5 or 2 as exam pattern. Okay, so we have to write first of all aim, after that apparatus, apparatus after precautions, precautions after procedure, after procedure observation. Say systematically first you will have one aim. You have studied already in scientific methods. You should have first aim. So for that aim, we have to do activity, right? So for that activity, what apparatus we required? We have to write. While we are doing that, what precautions we have to take to safe and secure. After that, you can follow the procedure. Okay. After procedure, while doing procedure, you will observe something, right? So your observation you have to write. There, your observation you have to write. After observation, you can get result, right? Then what result you got, you will write. So result, observation after procedure after observation, observation after result. Okay. This precautions your wish before procedure and after procedure. No problem. Because in different books, differently given. Okay. After result. See, normally all students are habituated to write only up to result. That's it in activity. But here, don't miss to write. But don't forget to write opinion, children. Opinion is not only for project, but also for activity also. Okay. So you have to write opinion. Result should be less, or opinion should be more. Because by taking that result, your opinion, what did you understand? What is your opinion on that activity here needed? Okay, did you get clarity? As still you have to follow for all activities, the systematic procedure. Then only you will have chance to get a good marks. Okay, here let us go for activity 3. What is that? Stained lactobacillus bacterium. Okay, take 1 or 2 drops of buttermilk on a slide and spread it. Take 1 or 2 drops of buttermilk on a slide and spread it. Don't keep like a point. You have to spread it on a slide. Heat the slide slightly on a lamp. Okay. Don't keep directly for fire. Okay. Heat the slide slightly on a lamp. Okay. You don't keep for a sample side. The opposite side is just to keep on a lamp. Only 3 to 4 seconds. Little word, that's it. 3 to 4 seconds. Add a few drops of crystal violet. Okay. See, by adding that crystal violet, we can see that proper image. We can get that particular image under the microscope. Leave it for 30 to 60 seconds and wash the slide gently with water. Okay. So after heating that, we are adding that crystal violet. Okay. After that, if you leave that for 30 to 60 seconds, okay, half minute or 1 minute, and wash the slide gently. That will get dry and stick for that shampoo. And after that, you have to wash gently with water. Observe a slide under the compound microscope. Draw rough sketch in your notebook as usual. Okay, of what you have observed and compare with your textual figure. So figure number 7b. So this is a view of microscopic view of lactobacillus bacteria. Here it is there already sample. Okay, fine. Then what you have observed under the microscope, you have to sketch the diagram. Then you compare. How is your view and here? You have to compare the diagrams. Here figure number 7b. Figure number 7b. Okay. So here a photograph of cardine bowl. Here spirals is there, right? If you collect that also, you can observe the microorganisms, right? Let's go for next slide. See here, I would like to discuss about this stain word. Already I have discussed, I think. Stain. Nothing but here, which thing is stained, below the diagram compulsory they will mention. Under the diagram they will mention stained lactobacillus bacterium. What is stain, sir? Here, to get a proper view in microscope, we have to color. We have to color that particular sample. Here we added crystal violet. We have to color that particular sample. By adding that particular color material, we are making that particular sample highlight under the microscope. We can see proper image. Okay, to make a highlight of that visualization, we have to add some colors sometimes for the suitable activities, not for all. That we have to write here stained because it is colorized for visualization or not. We have to mention here below the bacterium. Okay. See, otherwise here something color will be appeared in the diagram. Some people will get confusion. Oh, it is look like violet, but it is just stained to highlight the structure. That's it. Okay. To get that, to have an idea, we have to mention that as stained. It means it is added colored. That is stained, right? Okay. Now let us go for do you know? Maybe you know already. Let us once recall. There are several bacteria grown on your skin, right? Exactly. There are several bacteria grown on your skin. Some of them cause diseases. Some show symbiotic relation with the other bacteria. Here, I would like to tell about the symbiotic relationship. See, children, symbiosis is very important. Okay. The relationship in between two organisms, like both organisms are depend on each other. Depend on each other. That is symbiotic relationship. In that relationship, one will consider as a host, one is a parasite. Okay. Which will give shelter, that is considered as a host. Which takes shelter, that is a parasite. Both can be like a host and a parasite. Both can be helped together by maintaining that particular relationship, that is a symbiosis process. For example, Rhizobium bacteria. Okay. In root nodules, do you know like root nodules like Verushanaga? Okay. Verushanaga palli, like that. So in that root nodules like bubble-like structures, Rhizobium bacteria will stay in that. So that particular root nodules, that particular plant is host, the bacteria is a parasite. So both will help together. What is help here? That particular plant is giving that shelter for the bacteria. The bacteria giving that excreting that nitrogenous material. That what the nitrogenous material is helpful for the plant. So a bacteria is giving nitrogenic material and plant is giving host. So here we can observe that a good relationship helping together. That type of relationship is a symbiotic relationship, children. Okay, with other bacteria, not only plant and bacteria. I'm saying that with bacteria to bacteria or other organism also. Okay, so that type of relation here we have to take consider. Okay, so here some shows symbiotic relationship other bacteria. It means here the relationship between bacteria and bacteria. Just I give an example for the symbiotic relationship by taking that plant and rhizobium bacteria. Okay, the particular family which will consist that root nodules. Okay, so here plant and bacteria is not a thing. The concept is the relationship in between that helping together in relationship. So here that symbiotic relationship in between bacteria and bacteria, bacteria and bacteria. So I will tell some more. There are different kinds of bacteria in our body, right? So bacteria present in our digestive tract also. Okay, in our digestive pipe, digestive tract, also bacteria is present. Then what is the use of the bacteria? For that bacteria we are giving shelter. Sorry, we are giving shelter for the bacteria. Then bacteria is depending on us. Then what is the use of bacteria for us? Bacteria is helping in digestion of food material. Okay, bacteria is helping in digestion of food material. Hmm? So this type of relationship, helping together relationship in between human and bacteria, which is present in the digestive tract. That is also one of the symbiotic relationship, biotic relationship, right? So bacteria present in our digestive tract are useful in digestion. Okay. So here bacteria are found everywhere and there are over thousands of them in soil, even air, water, etc. Okay. Bacteria are found everywhere and there are over 1,000 types of them in 1,000 types of bacteria are there in soil, air, water. Okay, we have found like scientists have found some of many bacteria and some unknown bacteria also may be there in soil, air, water. They can live in low and high temperatures also. They can live in low and high temperature also. Recently, a biggest bacteria, Theomargarita namibiensis. Listen carefully. Huh? Theomargarita namibiensis. Once you please repeat. Theomargarita namibiensis. Namibiensis. Okay. So recently a biggest bacteria. Please underline that. Okay. Theomargarita namibiensis discovered by Hide and Sulj. Hide and Sulj in coastal water of Namibia. What about that biggest? We said recently biggest bacteria Theomargarita namibiensis. No, that 0.75 mm, children. Okay, 0.75 mm, that which can be seen with the naked eye. See here. Actually, bacteria means that is a micro particle, right? We cannot see with our naked eye. We can see under microscope. That's it. Okay, we can see our. We cannot see with our naked eye. We can see under microscope. That's it. But here, Hide and Sulja in coastal water of Namibia, he has found The biggest bacteria which can be seen with naked eye, which can be seen with naked eye, 0.75 mm also. There's also bacteria, but biggest. Okay, you can see with our naked eye, not like your personality, like, okay, just little bit we can see with our naked eye, and we can observe clearly under microscope. No need to worry about that because already it is 0.75 millimeter. Okay, 0.75 mm. Okay, fine. Let us go for activity. Sorry, let us go for a know about algae. Okay, algae. What are algae? See here, Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra, Diatoms, Spirulina, Idogonium, Ceratium. These are there in this algae. Okay, greenery material. Scrappings we collected, no. Okay, usually you use like some pakuru type. Okay, this word. Very often we observe greenish pond water in our surroundings. Very often we observe greenish pond water in our surroundings. It is greenish because of growth of algae children. Okay. Very often we observe greenish pond water in our surroundings. It is greenish because of growth of algae and other plants which grow in water. Okay. We can see some of algae like Kara, not Chara. Kara, Spirogyra, etc. We can see some of algae like Kara, Spirogyra, etc. With naked eye. No need here microscope. With the naked eye also we can see that greenish materials. If you want to observe under microscope, you have to collect from that greenish one sample and observe under the microscope. But most of the algae present in water are microscopic children. Okay, most of the algae which is present in water, it is microscopic. Most of the algae we cannot see with our naked eye perfectly. Okay, most of the algae present in water are microscopic. It means microscopic means, of course, we can see with our naked eye. We can see clear image under the microscope. The group of algae can form and give a particular that greenish color like that. Okay, fine. Here, most of the algae present in water are microscopic. It means very small. Okay, very small. Let us collect the pond water or water from the tanks with a bit of greenish scraping. Already we have collected once. Let us collect pond water. Okay, or water from the tanks with a bit of greenish scraping. To observe some of the micro algae growing in water, let us do the following activity. To observe the micro algae growing in water, let us do the following activity. Here now activity 4. Let us go for the activity to observe the algae, micro algae. Select a few strands. What is strands, sir? Green string-like bodies. Green string-like bodies you have to select from water sample. Okay. See, select a few strands, green string-like bodies from water sample collected and put them on a slide. Put them on a slide. Cover it with a cover slip and observe it under microscope. As I told you, you have to select a few strands, green string-like bodies from water sample collected, and you have to collect it with the needle or forceps, or like you have to use apparatus. Don't use a hand to collect that, or brush, paint brush. With help of that, you have to put the sample on the slide, and if that okay, no problem. If that dry, you have to add a drop of water. Okay. If we take a if a dry sample is there on slide, we cannot see proper image. So, however, we have collected some water. No need to add water because already it is okay moisture. Like it will have that water percentage somewhat. No need to add here. Cover it with a cover slip to avoid the disturbance while we are observing under the microscope. And observe it under microscope. Here, don't forget to draw a rough sketch diagram what you have observed. Observation book or notebook. Compare it with the figure number 5. 5. See, figure number 2, 3, 4. Here 5. See, algae. Okay. The group of algae is given here: Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra, Diatom, Spirulina, Idogonium, Ceratium. Okay. So you can compare that particular. You can compare that particular and particular algae and try to get that about a particular sample. Here, do you know photosynthesis in microalgae is very useful to organisms which lives on Earth. Photosynthesis in microalgae is very useful. See, you may all are thinking like the oxygen on our Earth, most of the oxygen is produced by plants. No, that is wrong. It means I'm not saying that plants are not giving oxygen. Plants are giving oxygen, fine. But excess amount of oxygen, what is there on Earth, that is because of algae. Okay. Because of this algae and compared to plants. Okay. So photosynthesis in microalgae is very useful to organisms which lives on Earth. Half of the oxygen O2 in the atmosphere is produced by the microorganisms. See, half of the, okay. See here, half of also we may not expect. You will think only plants only giving the oxygen, but here not more than plants, but half of, just equalize, half of 50-50. Cannot expect that. But half of the oxygen in the atmosphere is produced by the microorganisms. Okay, like algae. Next, next one is activity 5 about protozoa. Observing protozoa. The other group of microorganisms. Other group of microorganisms is protozoa. Let us go for one protozoa. I will show you where it is. Here, bacteria, fungi, protozoa. Yes. Amoeba, paramecium, verticella. This is a group of protozoa. Okay. This is also one of the microorganisms group. Now let us go for the observing protozoa. The other group of microorganisms is protozoa. Present in water and soil. Protozoa also present in water and soil. Let us do the following activity to observe them. Activity 5. Activity 5. So children, like as time up, I'm going to wind up the session. Observing protozoa, activity 5. Let us continue in next class. So let us continue in next class. So please be ready to get about the protozoa in next class, and I'll come up with beautiful slides. And thank you everyone.
Good morning, all of you. How are you all today? Fine. Pujida, Mahesh, Akshida, Venkatesh, Anudeep, Vignesh, Varshavardhan, Ibn Joseph. Are you all fine today? Ah, yes, very good. Give me a smile then. Baby Sri, just got up from the bed, I think. No. Okay, very good. Kiranmai, fine. Okay, very good. Who is this? Bhavana Sri Lakshmi. Okay. Did I give you any homework in the previous session? Zoya, fine, good. I told you to read 2 or 3 paragraphs every day. How you all doing that? Are you all doing that? Yes, very good, very good. So, shall we start our session? So, this is the unit that we have been going through in the previous session. And class 8 English unit 3 be reading the selfish giant part 2. Aim to enable the students to understand the importance of humanity. So you must be the person who loves other human beings, isn't it? That's what we have been learning from this lesson. And agenda, introduction, vocabulary, explanation, question and answer session, homework. And in case of vocabulary, linnet bird. The first vocabulary is linnet word. Linnet bird, not word, but bird. Linnet bird, it means a small brown and gray bird. A small brown and gray colored bird. Linnet bird. Cease. Cease, it means stop happening. You might have heard the sentence, a term like ceasefire. Ceasefire, it means stop fire. Creep. Creep. To move slowly on hands and knees. To move slowly on hands and knees. You might have seen small kids, they are not able to stand on their own. So they usually moving very slowly on hands and knees, using their knees. Twittering, making a series of short high sounds. Making a series of short high sounds. Wander, to move about without a fixed aim. You wander in the evening along with your friend, isn't it? So when you are going back from school, you reach your home after eating some snacks, you go out to play with your friend. Sometimes you call your friend and wander here and there. There is no aim at all. To move about without a fixed aim. Feeble. Feeble, it means weak. Weak. He's a feeble person. He's a weak person, lacking strength. He doesn't have strength. And slay. Slay, it means kill. I am going to slay him. I am going to kill him. Slay, it means kill. So we have only a few vocabulary here. Once again, linnet bird, it means a small brown and gray bird. Cease, it means stop happening. Ceasefire, stop firing. Creep. Creep, it means move slowly on hands and knees. Twittering. Twittering, it means making a series of short high sounds. Birds usually twitter. Birds usually twitter. Birds usually make a series of short high sounds. Wander. Wander, it means just roaming here and there without a fixed aim. You don't have any aim and you may be wandering. Feeble. Feeble, it means weak, otherwise lacking strength. Slay. S-L-A-Y, slay, it's a very common word and it means kill. So you can see a giant here, a human-like structure which has an enormous body. If you see a giant, what will you do? You will run away from there. And the selfish giant part 1 already we have learned, and this is part 2. This is part 2. The selfish giant. In the part 1, the giant was very selfish. He did not allow the children to play in his garden. He always told that it is my garden. I don't allow anybody to play in my garden. Then what happened? The spring did not come to his garden. The north wind, the hail, they were very happy people. The snow, they were very happy because they could stay some more months in the garden of the selfish giant. So the selfish giant didn't even understand why the spring did not come to his garden. We all know the reason. What was the reason? He drove the children away from his garden. He was very selfish. So the God wanted to punish him. That's why the God did not allow the spring to enter into the selfish giant's garden. See what's happening now. Old giant, one morning I was lying awake in bed when I heard some lovely music. One day, what happened? One morning, I was lying awake. He was not sleeping, but he is taking rest on his bed. In bed, when I heard some lovely music, then he heard some lovely music from outside. It sounded so sweet that I thought it must be the king's musicians passing by. The first thought that came to the old giant's mind was that some king's musicians were passing by or going along the road. But it was really only a little linnet bird singing outside my window. Then later he understood that it was a bird that was singing outside the window. So one day, what happened here? Old giant was sleeping, not sleeping. He was lying awake in bed. Then he heard some lovely music from outside. So the sound, the first thought which came to the old giant's mind was that he thought that it was the king's musicians going along the road. But it was really only a little linnet bird singing outside my window. So a little linnet bird entered into the garden of the selfish giant. So he never thought of it, isn't it? Why? Because for many days, no birds, no spring season has arrived in his garden. It was so long since I had heard a bird sing in my garden that it seemed to me to be the most beautiful music in the world. So the giant had not been hearing music for a long period of time, because when the spring denied to come to the garden of the selfish giant, so there was no birds entered into his garden. So after a long time, the giant could hear the singing of a bird, a linnet bird. The giant, the hail has stopped dancing over my head. The hail has stopped dancing over my head. And the north wind has ceased his roaming. The north wind has stopped his roaring. It means that the hail went away from his garden. The north wind went away from his garden. A delicious smell is coming from the window. What might be that delicious smell? I believe the spring has come at last. So the old giant understood that the spring has come at last. The giant jumps out of bed and looks out. Through a little hole in the wall, the children have crept in and are sitting in the branches of the trees. So what happened in his garden? The entire situation has changed. The giant jumps out of the bed and looks out. The giant understood that the spring had arrived in his garden finally through a little hole in the wall. We already learned in the previous session that the giant built a wall around the garden. Why? Because the giant didn't want the children enter into his garden. That's why he built a high wall around the garden. But someone made a little hole in the wall. Someone made a little hole in the wall. So the children have crept in. The children were not able to walk in. They crept in. Crept in, it means moving with your hands and knees. Moving with the help of your hands and knees. So small hole is there. Through that hole, the children entered into the giant's garden. Through a little hole in the wall, the children have crept in and are sitting in the branches of the trees. The children climbed up the trees and they were sitting on the branches of the trees. Do you really think that the selfish giant like this? Don't know. We will check it out. Old giant. In every tree, I could see a little child. So many little children came to his garden, entered into his garden. Already he kept a notice board, like the trespassers will be prosecuted. The persons who enter into my garden without my permission will be punished. He has kept a notice board. But here, when he woke up, when he heard the beautiful singing of the linnet bird, he just went out and found that the spring has arrived in his garden. Now, in every tree, I could see a little child. The trees were so glad to have the children back again that they had covered themselves with blossoms and were waving their arms gently above the children's heads. See how the situation has changed. How beautiful the garden will be looking now. There was no snow, there was no hailstorm, there was no north wind. So the garden will be looking very beautiful now. You see, the trees were so glad. The trees are very happy. They were covered with the frost and snow earlier, but now there were no frost, no snow. The trees were so glad, so happy to have the children back again. So the trees also got happiness by seeing the children back again to the garden. That they had covered themselves with blossoms. You could see a lot of flowers on the trees as well. You could see a lot of flowers on the trees as well. So the trees are very, very happy. Earlier, the giant was very selfish. That's why the spring did not come to the garden. Now the situation has changed. The trees started producing flowers themselves with blossoms and were waving their arms gently above the children's heads with their leaves. They gently, their arms, they were waving their arms gently above the children's heads. When your mother feels a lot of happiness, maybe you show your progress card to her, then you got first rank. Oh, my child, she pats on your head with her hand. She pats on your head with her hands, just like that. Just like that, the trees, they were waving their arms, maybe branches, maybe leaves, with the leaves gently above the children's heads. The birds were flying about and twittering with delight. The birds were flying about. A lot of birds came to the garden and they were flying here and there and twittering, making sounds of happiness, twittering with delight, twittering a series of short high sounds, which is usually made by the birds with delight. So the birds were flying, they were twittering, they were very happy. It was a lovely scene. It was a very fantastic scene. It was a very beautiful scene. Only in one corner, it was still winter. One corner of the garden, one corner of the giant's garden, there was still winter. Why? And the remaining part, there were spring. Only one corner. It was the farthest corner of the garden. Farthest. It was the farthest corner of the garden. What happened there, we will see. And in it was standing a little boy. And in the farthest corner, you could see a little boy standing there. Maybe the little boy is unable to climb to the tree. That's why he is standing there. He was so small. He was so small that he could not reach up to the branches of the tree. He was not able to climb on the tree. He could not reach up to the branches of the tree. So he was standing down there. And he was wandering all around it. And he was wandering all around the tree, crying bitterly, crying with great sadness. So at the farthest corner of the garden, what happens? There was still winter. Why it was winter there? Because a child is not able to climb up the tree and sit in the branches of the tree. He was standing there. He was wandering all around the tree without any aim. But he's crying bitterly, crying with sadness. Why? Because all the other children, they climbed up the tree and they were sitting on the branches of the tree and the trees were very happy as well. But here, the child was very small that he couldn't climb up the tree and was not able to sit on the branches. The poor tree was still quite covered with the frost and snow. So the poor tree was still quite covered with the frost and the snow. And the north wind was blowing and roaring above it. So only one tree in the garden was not happy. Why? Because it was covered with frost and snow. And the north wind was blowing and roaring above it. Climb up, little boy, said the tree. The tree wanted the little boy to be climbed up. And it bent its branches To help the boy, the tree bent its branches down as low as it could. But still, the little boy was too tiny. The little boy was too small to climb up the tree and sit in the branches of the tree. It was then that my heart melted. It was then that the giant's heart melted. The giant felt sympathy towards the little boy as he was not able to climb up the tree. See, now the old giant's character has changed a little. Now the old giant might have understood that the reason for not coming the spring into his garden. Am I correct? Yes, the giant was so selfish. That's why the God wanted to punish him. So he did not send. The spring into the garden of the old giant. Now, when the children entered into the garden, the frost, the snow, the north wind, they moved out of the garden and the trees started blossoming. So you could see the giant sitting in his garden, and on his palm you could see a small boy. Okay, see the next slide here. The giant, how selfish I have been. The giant understood that he had been very selfish. Now I know why the spring would not come here. Finally, the giant understood that, realized that why the spring would not come to the garden of him. I will put that poor little boy on the top of. I'm going to help the little boy, the tiny boy. I'm going to put him on the tree. And then I will knock down the wall. And my garden shall be the children's playground for ever and ever. So the giant had changed his character. He wanted the little boy to be put on the top of the tree. And then he has decided to knock down the wall which he built before some months. And my garden shall be the children's playground for ever and ever. And the giant also decided that he is going to make the children play in his garden. So the selfish giant's character had changed. He has become a kind character. See that paragraph once again, how selfish I have been. The giant understood that he had been very selfish. Now I know why the spring would not come here. Now I understood why the spring did not come to my garden. I will put that poor little boy on the top of the tree, and then I will knock down the wall. So finally, he decided to put the little boy on the top of the tree, and also he wanted to knock down the wall because he wanted all the children to come into his garden and play there. And my garden shall be the children's playground for ever and ever. Old giant, I was really very sorry for what I had done. The old giant felt that he had very sorry for what he had done. Actually, what he had done, he drove away the children from the garden. So I crept downstairs. I went to the downstairs and opened the front door quite softly without making any sound. Why? Because if the children see the giant, they would run away from there, isn't it? That's why he slowly or quietly opened the door. He went out into the garden, but when the children saw me, they were so frightened that they all ran away and the garden became winter again. So the giant wanted to put the child on the top of the tree. That's why he crept to the downstairs. He moved very fast the downstairs and opened the front door quite softly because he knew that when the children see him, they would run away. That's why he opened the door quite softly and went into the garden. But when the children saw the old giant, what happened? They were so frightened. They were so scared. And they all ran away and the garden became winter again. When the children went out of the garden became winter again. Only the little boy did not run. Only the little boy did not run, for his eyes were so full of tears that he did not see me coming. Why? Why that little boy did not run away? Because his eyes were filled with the tears. His eyes were filled with the tears. That's why he did not see the giant coming. That's why he did not see the giant coming. So I stole up behind him. I reached behind him and took him gently in his hand. The giant took the tiny boy gently in his hand and put him up into the tree. And the old giant, he put the tiny boy, the small boy, up into the tree. And the tree broke at once into blossom. Suddenly, the tree broke at once into blossom. And the birds came and sang on it. And the little boy stretched out his two arms and flung his arms around the giant's neck and kissed him. So the little boy was not afraid. That's why he flung his two arms around the neck of the old giant and kissed the giant. When you feel a lot of love towards your father and mother, you flung your arms around them and you kiss on their cheeks, isn't it? So the same thing had happened here. When the other children saw that, they came running back. When the other children saw that the giant had changed his character, they also came back to the garden. And with them came the spring. When the children again entered into the garden, what happened? The spring also came to the garden. So when the old giant changed his character, a lot of changes had happened in the garden. So once again, let me read that paragraph. I was really very sorry for what I had done. So I crept downstairs and opened the front door quite softly. And I went out into the garden. But when the children saw me, they were so frightened, they were so scared that they all ran away and the garden became winter again. Only the little boy did not run, for his eyes were so full of tears that he did not see me coming. So I stole up behind him and took him gently in my hand and put him up into the tree. And the tree broke at once into blossom, and the birds came and sang on it. And the little boy stretched out his two arms and flung them around my neck and kissed me. When the other children saw that, they came running back, and with them came the spring. So when the giant changed his character, a lot of changes had happened in the garden. When the children entered, the birds came and started singing there. The hail, the north wind, the frost, the snow, they all went away from the garden. And the children started playing in the garden. The trees, they started blossom. They broke at once into blossom. The giant, it is your garden now, little children. The giant, he softly said to the children that it is your garden now, little children. Old giant, I took a great axe and knocked down the wall. He took a great axe and knocked down the wall. And when the people were going to market at 12 o'clock, they found me, yes, me, playing with the children in the most beautiful garden they had ever seen. The old giant took a great axe and knocked down the wall. And when the people were going to market at 12 o'clock, they found me, they saw me, yes, me, playing with the children in the most beautiful garden they had ever seen. So the giant had changed his character. He started playing with the children in the most beautiful garden. All day long we played, throughout the day we played, and in the evening the children came to bid me goodbye. And in the evening, what happened? The children came to bid me. It means say me goodbye, because they wanted to get back to their home. Tall girl, now we have somewhere to play. Now we have somewhere to play. Short boy, this is much better than the road. When the giant drove them away from the garden, some of them might have started playing in the garden, which was very Some of them might have started playing in the road, which was very dusty and full of stones. Then the short boy said that this is much better than the road. Square girl, yes, the road is so dusty and the dust makes me sneeze. The road is so dusty and the dust makes me sneeze. Graceful girl. And the grass is so much nicer than all those hard stones. So see, in the garden, what you could see there, the grass, and the grass is so much nicer than all those hard stones. When you play on the road, what happens if there were hard stones? If you fall down, you may get injuries. You may get injuries. But in the garden, what happens? There is grass, so that even if you fall, nothing is going to happen. Round boy, I like all the flowers in the garden. Then the round boy said that he liked all the flowers in the garden. Graceful girl and the trees. So trees, they are giving fruits as well, isn't it? So the children, they could pluck fruits from the tree and they could eat. Tall girl, how happy we are all here. We are all very happy here. Thank you, Mr. Giant. Now they are not afraid of the giant. Then the round boy, yes, thank you. You are a very, very nice giant. You know that in the beginning, the giant was scary. The giant was very selfish. Now he has changed his character. He has started playing with the kids in his garden and he said that this is the most beautiful garden. The giant, but where is your little companion? Where is your little friend? Companion, friend? The boy I put into the tree. The boy I put into the tree. So already I told you, in the beginning of this lesson, we have learned that there was a tiny boy who was not able to climb onto the tree. So the giant put that boy on the branches of the tree. So here he is asking about the child, the boy I put into the tree. Then the graceful girl said, I don't know. Round boy, he has gone away. Then round boy said that he had gone away. The giant, you must tell him to be sure to come here tomorrow. You must tell him, you must inform him to be sure to come here tomorrow, because the giant wanted to meet the tiny boy, the small boy. Tall girl, I don't know where he lives. Then the tall girl said that I don't know where the small child lives. Then square girl, I have never seen him before. Then the square girl said that she had never seen the small boy before. Maybe that boy is not from that area. We will come to know who the small boy is. The giant, but I wanted to thank him. Why? Because he is the one who changed the character of the giant. When he kissed me on the cheek, when the tiny boy kissed me on the cheek of the giant, I felt as though a great weight had been lifted my heart. A great weight had been lifted, removed from my heart. Why? When you're selfish, you always think about something. You will always be in tension. If you are not selfish, if you are a helpful person, you have a lot of weight in your heart. But now, when you are not selfish, you don't need to be worried about anything here. But I wanted to thank him when he kissed me on the cheek, when the little child kissed the cheek of the old giant. He felt as though a great weight had been lifted from my heart. Short boy, I'm sorry, but I don't think he lives around here. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen this little boy before. I don't think that he lives around here. Then the old giant. Every afternoon, when school was over, the children came and played with me. Every afternoon, what happened? The school was over. After the school, the children came and played with me. The children came and played with the old giant. But I never saw again the little boy who I loved, but I never saw the little boy whom I loved too much. Oh, I would like to see him again. Actually, the giant wanted to see him again. He's in a desperate need to see the boy again, because he had a great love and affection toward that small boy, because when he kissed the old giant, a great weight had been lifted from his heart. I have grown old and feeble, waiting. I have grown old and feeble. I have grown old and very weak. And still I am waiting for that small boy. I cannot play about with the children anymore, because I am very weak. Now I am not able to play with the children anymore. So I sit here in my armchair. There was an armchair. So he sits in the armchair and watch the children at their games. And old giant, what he could do now, he could just simply sit in the armchair, and he could watch the children playing different games and admire my garden. Now and then he praises his garden. So my garden is very beautiful. That's why all the children, they are coming and playing in my garden, and my garden offers beautiful flowers and fruits to the children who comes to play in the garden. I have many beautiful flowers, but the children are the most beautiful flowers of all. That's the reality. I have many beautiful flowers. The giant had many beautiful flowers, but who are the most beautiful flowers of all? The children are the most beautiful flowers of all. Getting up and looking out of the window. So one day what happened? He got up and looked out of the window. I no longer hate the winter. I no longer hate the winter. It is merely the spring asleep. The flowers are resting. So the giant, he no longer hate the winter. Winter, it means it is merely the spring asleep. When the spring season goes to sleep, what comes? The winter season comes. Actually, the spring season also needs some rest, isn't it? That's why when the spring goes to sleep, what comes? The winter comes. Now the giant, he doesn't hate the winter season as well. The flowers are resting. Suddenly he rubs his eyes in wonder and looks around. Suddenly he rubs his eyes in wonder and looks around. What a marvelous sight this is. Something he has seen there. Something he has seen outside. What a marvelous sight this is. In the farthest corner of the garden, a tree covered with lovely white blossoms, a tree covered with lovely white flowers. Its branches are all golden. So its branches are all golden in color, and silver fruit hangs from them. And the tree gives a silver fruits, hangs down from them. And what is this? Can it be? Oh, can it be? He has come back. He has come back. Who has come back? The spring or the little boy? If the giant is so much surprised here, he exclaimed in the beginning, what a marvelous sight this is. So it might be the child. It might be the little boy. The tiny boy might have come back. See, he has come back. He has come back. The old giant leaps down the stairs. Not chairs, stairs. The old giant leaps down, jumps down the stairs into the snowy garden and to the grassy patch where the child is standing. So the child has come back. The giant is extremely happy. That's why he jumped down the stairs into the snowy garden and to the grassy patch where the child is standing. The grassy field where the child is standing. When he draws close to the child and examines him, when he reaches very close to the child and started observing the child, his face grows with red and anger. His face becomes very angry. Why? He just observed the child. After observing the child, his face grows red with anger. Old giant, who had dared to wound thee? There were some wounds on the face of the child, on the body of the child, wounds. Oh, the old giant was very angry by seeing the wounds on his face or the body of the tiny child. Old giant, who has dared to wound you? Who did this to you? That is what the old giant asked. Your hands, your feet. Who has dared to wound you? So on the child's hand and feet, there were some wound marks. Wound marks. Who has dared to wound you? Tell me that I may take out my big sword and kill him and slay him. So the old giant had a tremendous love on the little child. That's why when he reached very closer to the child, he saw some wound marks on the body of the child. The old giant got very angry. He asked, "Who has done this to you? Tell me, then I will take my sword and kill that person who wounded you." Child, nay, nay, it means it's an old usage of no, no, but these are the wounds of love. They are necessary. Then the child said that these are the wounds of love. They are necessary. No, Jane, no need to worry. These are the wounds of love. They are necessary. Old giant falling to his knees, standing on his knees. Little child, who art thou? Who are you? The old giant asked the little child, "Who are you?" Then, child smiling, "You let me play once in your garden. You allowed me to play once in your garden. Today, you shall come with me to live in my garden, which is in paradise." So this is the day the giant is going to die. This is the day the giant is going to die. After death, where would you go? You will be going into the heaven, isn't it? And staying with the God forever. And staying with the God forever. That is what? The child is an angel of the God. The child is the angel of the God sent this angel to the old giant's garden in the beginning to change his character. Now after a long years, what happened? The child has come back to take the giant into paradise. So today is the day the giant is going to die. After death, the little child is taking the giant into heaven, and the giant will be staying with the giant will be staying with the God forever. So that's why he says, the child is smiling, "You let me play once in your garden. Today you shall come with me. Today I am here to take you to live in my garden, which is in paradise." The child climbs into the old giant's arms. The child climbs into the old giant's arms. The winter melts away. The winter moved away. Before them, as they walk into an ever-expanding garden. What do you mean by an ever-expanding garden? Ever-expanding garden, it means heaven. After death, where you stay, you will stay with the God in his beautiful garden forever. There is no death. Only one time you will die, isn't it? Otherwise, after reaching heaven or paradise, you will die again? No, you will be staying with the God forever. So this beautiful play was written by Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde. So this is converted into a play by M. Brian Taylor. So see, Oscar Wilde, 16 October 1854, 13 November 1900, was an Irish writer and poet. Irish writer, it means a person from Ireland. It is the name of the country. After writing in different forms throughout the 1880s, he became one of the London's most popular playwrights in the early 1890s. Today, he is remembered for his epigrams and plays. Oscar Wilde is best known for the novel The Picture of Dorian Gray and the play The Importance of Being Honest. The Happy Prince and Other Tales is a collection of children's stories. So this part of the lesson that we have learned is written by a famous writer named Oscar Wilde. Keep this name in your mind, okay? And he is from Ireland. That is what you have to keep it in your mind. So this is the end of this session, and this is all for today. And I want all of you to read the first and second part of the Old Giant. Okay, will you all do that? I hope you have understood the lesson well. Otherwise, you can go ahead with this video classes once again. Nitish, okay, fine. Thank you, man. And don't forget that to improve your language. I don't recommend you to go ahead with the science, social, English textbooks. So to improve your language, take small short stories which you like. If you are interested in short stories, just to read many short stories. What you can do is that when you read a short story, there may be 2 or 3 hard words. So you will have to write it on a paper. Then you refer to a dictionary and find out the meaning. Then when you speak with somebody in English, you use those hard words when you speak. Then you will never forget those words. Because to learn English, you must have a good vocabulary. If you don't have much vocabulary, you cannot speak fluently. Okay, students, have a great day. Enjoy your day. Okay. So I'm winding up this session. Thank you all.